Okay, you got something to say to the client or to the... Okay, ready, set. Welcome back to my channel. I guess I have to say that since I'm a YouTuber now, but my name is Bethany Ellen. I'm an award-winning maternity photographer based out of Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm also a nationwide photography educator, teaching photographers all around the country how to realize their own potential and become better artists and better business owners. Oh my God, you know how many times I had to keep re-saying it because I kept messing up? Whew, okay. Hard stuff's out of the way, right? So this is our first long form video, if you want to call it that today, where I'm actually going to be talking a little bit more in depth. I filmed an intro video first, and that was already a torturous process. This is already going super well. But this is the first video I wanted to start with today. This is kind of a twofold video, and I'm really excited to be able to chat with everybody about it today. One, this is for photographers who want to have better maternity sessions. And two, this is for clients that want to have better maternity sessions as well. So let's dive in. Okay, from a client's perspective, you might be thinking, I'm pregnant, now what? From a photographer's perspective, you might have just gotten an inquiry and you're like, now what? And equally, I'd say both, one a little more than the other, both are terrifying when you're kind of jumping in feet first and you don't really know what's going on, right? So let this video be a great way for you to learn how to better prepare for a maternity session, regardless of photographer versus client experience. And hopefully this will help you understand some perspectives that photographers have when they're kind of helping you through that booking process. So that way you understand why we do the things that we do. For photographers, I hope this helps you understand some of the questions your clients might have when they're booking, so that way you can better prepare them. I find that a lot of times issues between client and photographer happen because of miscommunication or being ill prepared for things to come. So all we can do is learn how to better communicate and better prepare. All right, number one question I get asked all the time: when do you start taking maternity clients? As soon as I pee on the stick? Or, do you take them up to 38 weeks? Here's what I tell all my clients. If it is your first baby, I will take you between 27 and 32 weeks. If it's your second baby, I will take you between 25, I would say, and 30 weeks. If it's twins or a high-risk pregnancy, I will take you as early as you are comfortable. And everybody always looks at me and they're like, what? That's so early. We didn't think to do this until, 36 weeks, 37 weeks. And to me, that's entirely too late. And I'll tell you why. I have tons of clients that will call me and say, in fact, the one that sticks out of my mind is this woman called me, no hate to her. She calls me and she says, I need a session. It was a Wednesday afternoon. She goes, I need a session on Saturday. And I was like, okay, well, I don't have the date available, but when are you due? Maybe we can fit you in. And she says, oh, I'm due Tuesday. It's why I need the session Saturday. It just doesn't work like that for every photographer. Not every photographer is able to get you in last minute. And in fact, I like to have a couple of weeks to prepare because, as you can see, I heavily stylize my sessions and I need time to get gowns, select locations, get colors figured out. It's a process. I can't go in with just a couple of days to prepare. And anytime I have, it hasn't really worked out for me or the client super great. I do take my clients really, really early into the pregnancy. I do that for a couple reasons. One, that time frame is right around when your energy levels are probably the best they're going to be. You're feeling good. Some people deal with chronic exhaustion all the way through their pregnancy, but second trimester right into third trimester is right when you start to kind of get it back. And that is going to give us the best chance we have. It also is when you're the most comfortable in terms of pregnancy. And it's not necessarily a size issue because everybody carries different and every body size is beautiful, in my opinion. It's more of an issue of the discomfort of baby is starting to get lower. It's starting to be more weight to carry around all the time. And clients are just not comfortable with the heavy posing and stylizing that my style tends to go. It's also an issue of safety. A lot of the poses that you see that I put my clients in are very hard on hips. and it can actually put them into preterm labor, and it's very, very sore. And I even tell my clients, you're gonna be sore the next day. That is not feasible when you are 36 weeks pregnant or more. So we actually highly, highly suggest to get you in before 32 weeks, if at all possible. It also gives you time to prep for things where you might want images of your maternity session. So we give our clients enough time to have prints hung in the nursery, to have prints, of their session in the living room when people come over. If you're having a baby shower, we want to be able to have time to get prints in for the baby shower that you could hang up if you wanted to. So even when you're thinking about your baby shower, kind of think if you want images there too, to be able to show off, because it's really, really special. And a lot of people really love to kind of contribute towards that as well. Now, another thing I get all the time, especially when I tell you how early I take you for a maternity session, is, but what if I don't look pregnant? And people hyperfixate on it and they're very scared and they're always like, but what if I don't look pregnant? I'm here to say that if you don't look pregnant, that's my fault, because I have the technique and the lighting and the posing and the knowledge to make sure that you look just as pregnant as you feel. A lot of times I have clients who are really scared to go, come in early, and I'll always tell them, like, just trust me. I promise you we can make it so. And if you really feel like you don't look pregnant enough, we have Photoshop. I have never had a client come back in and say, gosh, I wish I looked more pregnant. They always are looking at it and going like, oh my gosh, I really did. And I'm like, yeah, you really did. Okay, so here's where math comes in. Our team, my photography team, I say team, it's me. I'm the team. My studio typically books out, I would say, like 4 to 6 weeks in advance, depending on what the timeline is. And if we want to be right within session between 27 and 32 weeks, for the most part, that means you probably want to start calling me right after your anatomy scan. You may not know the gender yet, and that's okay, but that gets you at least on my calendar, and then we can adjust plans as needed. If I don't have the preparation going in advance, it becomes very difficult for me to have a great session. And that might just be a personal thing, but I know a lot of photographers are picky artists because that's why we jumped into this career into the first place. So check with your photographer if you need to come earlier or later, but typically I like them calling me right at 20 weeks. It gives us a lot of time to prepare and a lot of time for us to get gowns in if we need them. What happens from my booking process is that I will send my clients a couple of things. I do this through Tave. If you are not using Tave, I would highly suggest it. I can also refer you. So in Tave, I have them do a couple of things. It has the quote that you will see a maternity session. You will see a newborn session because we love it when our clients come back for newborn as well. We'll also see a styling fee on there, and I'll tell you what the styling fee is in just a second. Then you see a questionnaire. So the questionnaire is really in depth. It goes through preferences, comfortability, sizing for clothes, and it even goes into the decor in your home because there are certain pieces of art that are more tailored towards one decor style than the other. And I want to have a good feel on that and a good feel of the colors that are in your home, so that way we can make sure everything feels just as custom as I want it to be. You'll also see a session contract in there as well. You should never be doing a session without a contract. It just protects you, whether you're the client or the photographer. Now let's talk about the styling fee, because that is not something that every photographer offers, and it's not something that every client thinks to ask. With my session fee, you are actually entitled to one custom styled look from my client closet. This is just like a small portion of the amount of gowns that I have. I mean, I have an entire spare bedroom that's full of more, and there's a closet in this office that has more gowns in it. I am an absolute designer gown hoarder. Like, I have so many. And part of that is my clients like a little bit of variety. I can't put everybody in the same gown. I want to make sure everybody feels unique and has something that's comfortable to them. And that means lots of different sizes, lots of different colors, lots of different styles. What happens from there is I get your questionnaire preference and I start to see what would be an amazing look based on the location we're going for and based on the client's preferences, skin tones, etc. The styling fee is where we get to have a little bit more fun. I always tell my clients, I'm gonna bring one outfit. I suggest you bring two, just to have variety. Nobody wants to flip through an album and have the same looks over and over and over. If they don't want to look for an outfit, or if they would just rather trust me, I have a styling fee and a styling service. So then that means that I can bring up to 3 gowns at a time. It really gives us variety, and it gives me a complete control over everything. I'm a little bit of a control freak when it comes to my art, but it's also just kind of ease of use for the client. They come in, they get styled, and then they leave. There's no point in buying a maternity gown for them that they're never gonna use again. And I basically charge them what it costs to clean the gown after. I also have another really great perk that I pass along to my clients, and that is called our buyback program. We have a lot of amazing vendors that we love working with, and I have a lot of clients that want a particular gown, like size, style, design. If I don't have that already, I will offer the ability to buy it back from them so they can show me what they paid, and I will give them a print credit directly back to them. It can be used towards prints, basically anything on our a la carte list, or towards a package if they'd like. It helps me build my client closet for other clients in the future. It also helps the client just get a little bit more for their money in terms of buying these heavily stylized looks and kind of overcoming that objection of where else am I gonna wear this, right? It's all about adding extra service and extra, level of kind of white glove for our clients. Okay, then session planning starts. And the first thing I'm gonna ask is, where do you wanna go? I always ask, indoor, outdoor, or underwater? A lot of clients that just don't know, right? They're kind of torn. Or I have clients that really want one thing and we just aren't able to do it just based on the time of year. Now, underwater is dependent on a lot of factors. They have to be able to swim and they have to be pregnant in that date range that I specified between May and I think the pool closes in August or September, so it's kind of a short window. Even just indoor, outdoor is kind of the hot button. Especially here in Ohio, it's just not very pretty outside between, I would say, like the end of November until the end of March. And so I have a lot of clients who really want to go outside and want kind of that naturey feel, but we don't quite have the aesthetics to meet what they're looking for. I have some clients who are pregnant in the dead of summer, and outside is still a challenge because it's muggy, it's hot, and you're sweaty in all of your photos, and I definitely don't want that for you. I have some clients who really, don't want to go indoors because they're afraid it won't create as epic of a photo as outside will. And I'm here to tell you, that is entirely dependent on your photographer. If you are disappointed because you weren't able to be outside and your photographer wasn't able to create art that made you say, wow, inside, that is not necessarily the outside's fault. It also, in studio, will allow us to do things like nude, semi-nude, if you're interested in that. I am not trying to catch a charge with the police for having nudes or semi-nudes outside. So it's a great way to make sure that you've got like all of the control. However, some people really have a specific location that's sentimental to them. They want to go to their wedding venue, which was outdoors, or they want to go on a hike. It's all gonna be beautiful. It's just a matter of where you want to go. Studio also creates much more of an editorial look. I would say outside is a little bit more sentimental. So when you're thinking about portraits that you're gonna hang on your wall, not just post online, and don't worry, we're gonna get to that. Sometimes you're gonna be able to have a preference and sometimes you're not gonna be able to have a preference, but if you do, you don't have to know it right away. We can work together. However, don't overthink it because we're gonna create beautiful pictures wherever. Another common question I get, what does dad wear? Of course, I'm happy to help you. If we can help build out that color palette, it will help you when you go shopping as you're looking for different types of clothes. However, things I want you to immediately avoid, you're gonna be in some form of couture wardrobe. I really would love to see dad in pants that at least match the vibe. Please no basketball shorts, please no joggers. Easy is like a pair of khakis or like dark jeans with no holes in them, unless the holes in them are the vibe you're going for. Or like black pants, black shoes are always really good. Men's shirts tend to have these like really thin stripes on them or really small plaid. I would say really avoid those like super thin stripes. And if you're gonna do like prints on anybody, a printed shirt for dad, just make sure they're the only one wearing a print. And if you're wearing a print for your gown, make sure they're in solids. It just helps with balance to the eye because your eye is always gonna go to like that wild looking print and you don't want it to be a distraction. You want it to help the overall color. Accessories are always great. I always recommend them. Bow ties, headbands, scarves, jewelry, like all of that goes into the look too. We don't always have jewelry that matches your idea of what you'd like for your session. So if you have something special, let us know and we can absolutely match it. However, costume jewelry is always fun. if you're gonna do like a headpiece or something that's always super neat. If you've got any jewelry that's special to your culture or heritage, I definitely want to know ahead of time so that way I can help incorporate it into the look as a whole. I'm always just here to make sure that these photos are what you look back on and go like, wow, that was super cool and we had a great time and that's our family, right? I want the focus to be on your family. This is your first family portrait. Let's talk about older kids. So I have parents who are coming in, this is their last baby, I have that a lot. I also have parents that are coming in, this is second baby, maybe third baby. So we have other kids to incorporate. And a lot of times I get the question, do you even allow them? Of course we allow them. This is all about your family. And if this is your first family portrait, I want everybody that means family to you. Top of mind things to keep in mind when you've got kids. If I've got toddlers coming in, your toddler is never gonna be able to last the whole session. So what we typically do is we get in the outfit that you would like to match with your toddler, because outfit changes on toddlers are nightmares. Love like your kids. I just know that you don't want to deal with the chaos, right? So we often say like bring 1 or 2 outfits for them, and if we can do an outfit change, we will, but we prioritize that first outfit, we'll build you the color palette, and again, I love a little like vest, like a little button-up vest, a little pretty dress, whatever your toddler wants to wear, we are totally cool with it. We just want to make sure it again matches the level of portraiture that we're putting you in. Bear in mind they are not going to last the whole session, and if you would like to get some solo shots of you and your partner, we suggest that you bring a third person to kind of hang out with the toddler for just a little bit, because we get maybe 25 minutes out of them. Maybe, and that's on a good day, and we all know how toddlers are. If the kids are older, it kind of depends on their interest level. I have a lot of clients that will come in that have like an 8 to 10-year-old, and then this is the second baby. It's not necessarily starting over or anything, they just decided to have another baby. And so it really just depends on interest level of that older child. If they want to be involved in the whole thing, if they'd just like to be involved in one outfit, talk to them. They're at that age when they can kind of decide, and again, we'll prioritize that first outfit, and then they're free to go off, do whatever they want, hang out. They can be a part of the session. We love incorporating them. We just want to make sure that we're not overstimulating them and that we're not creating a negative experience that then they'll come back and like that's all you remember, right? Okay, makeup. I get this question all the time. What do I do for makeup? The number one thing I recommend, book a makeup artist that you trust. Do not go with somebody new, especially if you haven't done a trial with them on the day of your session. Because I've had it backfire poorly, and then they come into the viewing, they go, I don't like them. I really hated my makeup. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that once the session is completed. So always, always, always do a trial or book with somebody that you know is gonna be good. I'm gonna try to approach this one delicately in terms of makeup. The highlighter trend was really big a while ago, that like sparkly highlighter. I would say now the trend is leaning towards this like dewy, fresh look in makeup. And while that looks great in person and it looks amazing in person, on film it translates to being really sweaty. When you're looking at makeup looks, please don't go for like super over highlighted. Don't go for the dewy look if you can. I would recommend a matte finish, because in terms of photography, the way that I am moving my light and lighting things that I want to highlight and putting things in shadow that I want to avoid, it can be an extra compensation on your face and it really does not look good. So I'd recommend going for matte, and again, with somebody that you trust. Session day, what should I look out for? First, you're gonna drink a ton of water. Like a ton, especially if it's hot out. It's not that I'm annoyed that we have to stop the session, I just want you to be safe. So water is always key. Second prep tip, get a good night's rest. My goodness, nobody wants to Photoshop out bags under our eyes, and concealer and Photoshop can only do so much. The best thing you can do to make sure you have a great experience is to make sure you and anybody involved at the session is getting a good night's sleep. Day of session, I want to see you eat something, or I want to hear that you've eaten something. Make sure that you don't skip breakfast, and make sure you eat something with protein. Protein is going to give you energy to get through the session, but it's also going to help your bump pop. So anybody that's concerned about not looking pregnant, that's a great little, I wouldn't call it a hack, but it's a great way to ensure that you've got enough bump, is not eating a bunch, but it's drinking water and getting something with protein in it. Okay, so if we had the session, what comes next? That is my favorite part. So after your session, you're gonna get a sneak peek in a blog, on social media. And that you can absolutely share with your friends and family. We even offer the service of having a baby registry added to that blog if you'd like at no charge. And then about 2 weeks later, you're gonna come in for your viewing appointment. And the viewing appointments are so fun because rather than just sending you a gallery link and saying like, have a good day, and hoping for a thumbs up message when you get it, the viewing appointment really allows us to sit down together, look at your images, and decide what are we gonna do with them. Once baby comes, you get so busy and forgetful that it just becomes hard to order those prints. And we wanna make sure that we give you the full service that we set out to offer. So we offer prints, digitals, etc., and you get to come in and look at all of our stuff and decide album, wall art, acrylic, metal. It really is a fun time. Digital files. Do I give them away with my session fee? No, because in my opinion, digital files do not best serve the clients that I serve. That might be different for your studio. That might be different for you as a client. And I do offer the ability to purchase digital files. They are just not included with my session fee. It's one way to receive art. Think about it in terms of any art you purchase. You can purchase the digital file to art, but you can also purchase a print of it. And in my opinion, print is the thing that lasts. It's the thing that you're gonna be able to look at and remember this experience. Digital files, they sit on a drive, they sit on a CD. How many of you can log into your MySpace right now? What happens if Instagram goes down? Where are all of your photos going to live? So in my opinion, they're an option. They're not always the best option. And I feel like people are so quick to say, but I want to post it, that they don't think about the long-term effects. These are your family heirlooms. This is your first family portrait. I want it to be something that really sticks out at you and that you're able to say like, wow, we did that. We did that together. Oh my God, do you feel like you got enough info? I feel like I talked for forever, but I do want to make sure the info I had was helpful. So if anything wasn't clear or you have further questions, drop them in a comment below. I'm gonna be watching the comments, so I'll make sure to answer anything or clarify anything that wasn't clear. If you followed the instructions in this video, tag me on Instagram so that way I can see what you got and we can look together if these prep tips actually help. And if you're a photographer who has more questions, feel free to join our Facebook group. I will link it down below, or send me a message on other platforms. I'm pretty active on IG, so feel free to connect with me there. Now I gotta say it, make sure to like and subscribe. I hate being the classic YouTuber, but it really does help me reach other platforms. And I'll come back with you next week where I will show you how to better prepare for your newborn session as well. So stay tuned. Get a roo-roo? You want to be on the YouTube video.